Well, you know what day it is. It's the day where we do our About Mansfield Consumer Advice series. And as we do well, it's not every Wednesday. It's just about every Wednesday. It is the day that we bring in our trademark attorney. She is Susana Mahady, live and in living color. Welcome back to About Mansfield.
Thank you for having me. Nice to
And,
be back.
and you know what? I put this out on social media. You responded to it the other day that have you're an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs have been known to barter for their services. And I certainly am no stranger to the barter system. And I put this out on social media. What is the strangest, it's not really a gift, strangest payment really that you've received from doing bartering? And so this actually kind of ties in with our topic for today, because I received a bidet last week.
And I commented that that was a very, very thoughtful and great gift because I'm a big proponent for practical gifts. And I think, we all probably have a boatload of mugs and pen sets and things like that. So I always applaud those who are creative and think of practical gifts.
It's a very cleansing gift. Yes, it cleanses not only the soul.
I'm sure you're feeling nice and fresh today.
So let's get into the topic of bidets and trademarks. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I think it's kind of interesting because it's a funny topic. Obviously, we can all make fun of things that are, anything that's bathroom related tends to bring a little giggle. But I actually did a little research after I saw your post and was looking at just a little bit of the history of bidets, because it's obviously something that we all associate with, other countries, especially in Europe. Or I believe that there's some countries that I think in Asia it's more commonly used. Definitely France and Italy and things, places like that. And I was reading about it, and it seems to be that it's predominantly used mostly in Catholic countries. And in fact, in Italy and I believe Portugal, the bidet it's required to install a bidet in any bathroom, in every bathroom. And that's a requirement that's been in place since 1975. So I thought that was really interesting. And I believe it's starting to, become popular over in the US because there's definitely a lot of trademark applications that have been filed with the name bidet in them.
Let's get into some examples.
Well, I thought one of them was, I believe you have shown the I don't know if it was the instruction manual or something where it had a term about cleaning your private parts. Well, that's actually a trademark. The bidet company cleaning private parts is something that is registered, and I thought that was very creative. And I was kind of looking at other creative slogans, and it goes back to what we had talked about previously, to how you can identify your brand through a slogan or a saying or anything like that. And it's important to register that as well, besides the name, because I think it's something that's recognizable. We did jingles before, things that we all, kind of remember, they stay in your mind. And I think slogans do the same. And cleaning private parts, I think, is extremely creative.
So, someone out there has actually
Go ahead.
someone has actually applied for a trademark called cleaning private parts in terms of a bidet.
It's the bidet company cleaning private parts is actually the name. But there are others that are even more creative, and not all of them are live. I think some of these have been abandoned or are no longer active. But one of them that some of the ones that I found was creative was, what a difference a bidet makes.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. I thought that was so creative. And then there was add a little freshness to your life, and that's related to a bidet company. There was one that was have a nice bidet, bottoms up. And bidet in a bottle. So there's definitely a lot of very funny, creative slogans that you wouldn't associate necessarily with, you know, a toilet.
Wow. I those are pretty creative, and so using obviously a play on words, and the more creative, the easier it would be to get your trademark passed through.
Absolutely, because you want to be distinctive, right? You want to be different. And the whole idea behind trademarking is to protect your brand and make sure that people are not confusing you with other brands that may not be as reputable or obviously not something that you're a service that you're providing. You don't want people to be directed to other companies or businesses that are also offering similar products as yours.
And
And that's the
this doesn't obviously just apply to bidets, but it applies to anything and everything that you are hoping to trademark in terms of doing business. And so, if you've got a product, think of something catchy. A play on words would be great, and then apply for the trademark.
right. And even like your company name, like your business name. I mean, we're talking right now about slogans and play on words and catchy phrases that people will remember and can stick in people's heads. But I think even just the name of your business should be something creative. And that's why the made up words like Xerox or Tesla or whatever, words that are well known in society today were trademarks that were just words that were made up that were successfully trademarked. You can try to trademark something that's more commonly known or words that are commonly used, but then the chances of successfully registering that trademark, are a little bit slimmer because you could be challenged or it could be just outright rejected.
You had mentioned before we started this podcast that there's actually a situation where you can share a name with someone else who wants that same name. And
You can't, I mean, names or brands can coexist. And I think that's the term we used earlier. When you have two names that you can have something registered or you can apply to register a name and there might be somebody already using that name, and they can challenge your application and affect your chances of getting that registered. But oftentimes companies can try to coexist by coming to some agreement where they could say, look, I'm only going to operate in California, you're only operating in Texas, and so let's coexist. Let's reach an agreement where we're not going to challenge your application because I'm going to just stick to my jurisdiction and you stick to yours. And that could happen. There's also bigger brands that coexist without agreements. And I think we used this example before where you have Delta Airlines and then you have Delta Faucets. I mean, these are the same name, but they're in whole different classes. I mean, they're no one is going to confuse Delta Airline product with kitchen faucets made by Delta Faucet.
So in some cases, but not always, it can weaken the brand. But for instance, in the name Delta, it's everybody knows it's either the Delta Faucets or Delta Airlines. But in smaller situations, it can actually hurt or weaken their brand.
Right. It could. It absolutely could. And if you plan to expand beyond, I mean, now with the internet, it's very easy to cross state lines, right? I mean, you're no longer just confined to your small little jurisdiction. People put things online, or you can sell products through the internet. And so that allows you to cross state lines very easily. And so you want to protect your brand beyond your small jurisdiction. And so if you have a business, I mean, this might be more applicable maybe in a brick and mortar type of business where you're just going to have, a small location and you don't really care that there's somebody in Hawaii operating something similar. But typically you want to protect yourself all over the country because you don't know. I mean, you might want to start selling online, and you want to make sure that your brand is protected and no one else can use it, or no one else is writing, no one's piggybacking on your goodwill or your good reputation.
If someone had more questions about protecting their brand, or even how to start, what's the process of trademarking their brand? If someone wanted to reach out to Susana Mahady, how can they do that?
Well, they can reach me through my website, which is www.mahadylaw.com, and that is spelled MAHADYLAW.com. Or, feel free to send me an email directly to my email address, which is smahady@mahadylaw.com.
Susana Mahady, she's always got good information about trademarks, and today is no different. I feel totally refreshed now that we've done this segment. And go forth and have a beautiful bidet.
No, how about have a nice bidet?
Have a nice bidet. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll catch you soon. Thanks.